One hero is God, the other is the most clever man in Greece. Both are fighting the exact same war, and the difference between them tells you everything about how ancient India and ancient Greece saw the world in completely opposite ways. In 2026, both of these epics are getting their biggest film adaptations ever, Nitesh Tiwari's Ramayana and Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Before you watch either of these two movies, you need to understand why these two stories that look identical on the surface are fundamentally incompatible at their core. And for that, let's start with the men at the center of these epics. Lord Rama and Odysseus could not be more fundamentally opposed in their heroic archetypes. Lord Rama is not just a great warrior, he is a god king of epic dimensions and an avatar of Lord Vishnu. He represents the ideal man whose existence is bound by a concept called Dharma, the complex cosmic moral order that underlies all existence in Hindu philosophy. For Lord Ram, every action is dictated by righteousness and social obligation. When his father, bound by a hasty promise to his stepmother, decrees that Lord Ram must be exiled to the forest for 14 years, Lord Ram doesn't fight it. He accepts it willingly, sacrificing his own comfort to uphold his father's honor and the cosmic law of Dharma. Odysseus, on the other hand, is gloriously and messily mortal. He is a realist, a man of extremes, and a master of disguise. While Lord Ram's defining virtue is Dharma, Odysseus' defining virtue is his cunning wit and tactical intelligence.
You have your sword. I have my tricks.
Odysseus wants his name to be known. He seeks immortal glory, and this often gets him into trouble. Where Lord Ram is a template for the divine ideal, Odysseus is the template for human survival. One represents what we should be, the other represents what we are when everything goes wrong.
No one could stand between me and home. Not even the gods.
Bringing us to the emotion of their stories. If you read the Odyssey, you might be surprised by how often the man of twists and turns breaks down. When we first meet Odysseus in Book 5, he isn't fighting monsters or commanding armies. He is trapped on the island of the nymph Calypso and is sitting on the shore, weeping. He displays raw, uncontrolled emotions that any normal person can relate to. He cries out of homesickness, he curses his luck in oceanic storms, and he even admits he wishes he had died at Troy so he could have at least secured his glory.
You're a man who needs to control his fate, but you cannot control this.
Help me go home.
Greek tragedy relies on imitation, where the audience watches a hero suffer and infers a direct personal connection. The emotion is volatile, deeply personal, and designed to trigger pity and fear. The Ramayana was literally born from compassion. The sage Valmiki witnessed a hunter kill a mating bird, and his grief was so intense it spontaneously became the first structured poetic verse in Sanskrit. That's the DNA of this entire epic. The tragedy of separation, the burden of duty, and the painful sacrifices required to maintain cosmic balance. The Greek epic wants you to cry for the hero. The Indian epic wants you to feel a transcendent compassion for the universal condition of the world. And what pushes these heroes to their emotional breaking points are the forces that stand in their way, the egoist and the lawless. In Ramayana, Ravana is not just a demon king. He's a devout follower of Lord Shiva, a scholar of the Vedas, a master of the Veena. He earned a boon from Lord Brahma through centuries of penance. But here's his fatal flaw: ego and hubris. He believes his boon makes him untouchable. He believes his intellect and devotion entitle him to possess Maa Sita. In the Odyssey, the primary villains occupying Ithaca are the Suitors. They don't have superpowers, they don't have boons, they are just entitled men. They eat Odysseus' food, harass his servants, disrespect his wife, and plot to kill his son. They are not cosmic villains, they are social parasites.
They're pining me for a daddy. You didn't even know. Like some sniffling.
Ravan breaks Dharma, cosmic moral order. The Suitors break Xenia, sacred hospitality. And this tells you everything about what each civilization was terrified of losing. One villain attacks a cosmic order, the other attacks a social contract. Both threaten the foundation of their world, but the foundations are completely different. And the way the gods intervene in these worlds, the difference is even more staggering. In the Odyssey, the Greek gods are basically hyper-powerful humans with anger management issues. Athena helps Odysseus because she likes his cleverness. Poseidon destroys him because he's personally offended. Zeus watches from the sidelines. These aren't moral arbiters, they are cosmic politicians with personal vendettas.
I think it's asleep.
In the Ramayana, divine intervention carries a sacred, purposeful weight. The gods do not act out of petty grievances. They intervene specifically to ensure that righteousness prevails and cosmic balance is restored. The ultimate symbol of divine assistance in the Ramayana is Lord Hanuman. He doesn't help Lord Ram because he's Team Lord Ram. He helps because serving Dharma is his Dharma. His devotion isn't transactional, it's existential. In the Odyssey, the gods help you because they like you. In the Ramayana, the gods help you because you serve something bigger than yourself. That's not just a different plot device, it's a completely different blueprint for a civilization. But these epics aren't just about heroes and gods. The women at the center of these stories exercise agency in ways that mirror their heroes. The quiet rebellions of Penelope and Maa Sita are often reduced in casual readings to the simple trope of the waiting wife, but both women actually exercise profound agency. Penelope uses cunning. She weaves and unweaves her father-in-law's shroud, buying time through deception. She tests Odysseus with their marriage bed when he returns. She outsmarts the suitors the same way Odysseus outsmarts his enemies. She's a mirror of her husband. Maa Sita's agency is moral defiance. She doesn't deceive, she confronts. She rejects Ravana openly, and when she's asked to prove her purity through Agni-Pariksha, she walks through fire not because she accepts the accusation, but because she refuses to let Dharma collapse on her account. But when later asked to go through another trial, she chooses Mother Earth. That's not submission, that's the ultimate rejection of an unjust system. Now something that will blow your mind. Two archery contests 3000 years apart mirror each other almost exactly. One of the most striking thematic overlaps between the Ramayana and the Odyssey is that both heroes must prove their worth through an impossible archery feat. In the Ramayana, King Janak decrees that his daughter Maa Sita will only marry the man who can lift the divine Pinaka bow of Lord Shiva. This weapon is so massive and heavy that it requires an 8-wheeled cart pulled by 500 strong men to move it. While generations of kings and princes fail even to budge the weapon, Lord Ram steps up, effortlessly lifts and strings it, and pulls with such immense divine strength that the ancient bow snaps in half. This spectacular display proves his divine identity and leads to his marriage to Maa Sita. The Odyssey features a contest that is surprisingly similar. Penelope, surrounded by aggressive suitors, sets a challenge. She promises to marry the man who can string Odysseus' heavy, incredibly stiff blackwood bow and shoot a single arrow cleanly through the socket holes of 12 lined up axes. The suitors fail miserably, lacking both the sheer physical strength and the technique required to bend the wood. But Odysseus, still disguised in the rags of a beggar, steps forward and effortlessly strings the weapon. By completing this task, Odysseus symbolically reinvests himself with his kingly power right before he turns the weapon on the suitors and takes back his home. Even after these great physical challenges are overcome, the true test of their reunions requires an entirely different kind of a trial, the final tests of identity and purity. Another incredible overlap occurs right at the climax of both epics. Before our couples can truly reunite and restore their lives, the wives must test their husbands, or the husbands must test their wives. But the nature of these tests reveal the stark contrast between these two epics. In the Odyssey, even after the suitors are dead, Penelope refuses to accept that this blood-soaked man is her husband unthinkingly. She tests him using her signature cunning. She orders her servant to move their marital bed, a bed Odysseus himself had secretly built around the trunk of a living olive tree. When Odysseus erupts in anger, revealing the intimate secret that the bed is rooted to the earth and cannot be moved, Penelope finally embraces him. Her test is intimate, clever, and designed to protect her own heart and home from impostors. In the Ramayana, the test is devastatingly public. After rescuing Maa Sita, Lord Ram is bound by the harsh scrutiny of his citizens. To publicly prove her absolute purity after living as a captive in another man's city, Lord Ram subjects Maa Sita to the Agni-Pariksha, a literal trial by fire. She walks directly into the flames, and the fire god himself delivers her unscathed, proving her flawless virtue to the world. While Penelope's test was a private game of intellect, Maa Sita's test was a brutal public sacrifice demanded by the unforgiving laws of social duty and dharma, bringing us to the meaning of home. Ultimately, both of these stories are about coming home. But what does home actually mean? For Odysseus, the homecoming is literal. It is the Greek concept of nostos, a successful physical return. Odysseus comes home, slaughters everyone who touched his stuff, and sits back on his throne. That's it. Home is equal to place. In the Ramayana, the physical return to Ayodhya is secondary. For Lord Ram, getting back to Ayodhya was never the point. The real journey isn't crossing the ocean to Lanka. It's the inward journey every soul takes towards salvation. Home isn't a place, it's a realization. But here's what truly devastating. Both heroes, after everything, end up alone. Odysseus killed by his own son Telegonus, a son he never knew existed. The man who spent 20 years fighting to get home to his family, destroyed by the family he didn't know he had. And Lord Ram walked into the Saryu river in solitary grief. The Greek hero is destroyed by his past. The Indian hero is consumed by his duty. These tragic endings leave us with a profound final thought on why these stories have survived for millennia.
You're goddamn right.
Bringing us to the final chapter, the mirrors of humanity. The Ramayana and the Odyssey have survived for thousands of years because they ask the same fundamental questions. How do we face overwhelming odds? How do we defeat the evil that disrupts our homes? And how do we find our way back? But their answers are worlds apart. The Odyssey celebrates the defined, unbreakable will of the human mind. It tells us that survival requires cunning, adaptability, and an unyielding grip on our own identity in a chaotic world ruled by unpredictable forces. The Ramayana teaches that the highest form of heroism is self-sacrifice. It suggests that true power lies not in asserting the ego, but in abandoning it for the sake of duty, compassion, and the cosmic order. Two ancient mirrors, one reflects the glorious, flawed reality of what we are, the other reflects the divine, tragic perfection we aspire to. And that is my take on the Ramayana and the Odyssey. Let me know what you think about this video in the comments below. I recently released a detailed breakdown of the Odyssey trailer on my Hollywood YouTube channel. If you're curious about Nolan's take on the Odyssey, do check out my video on my other channel. The links are in the description. Subscribe to this channel for more such videos and do check out my video on Nitesh Tiwari's direction of the Ramayana right here. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.